Hey, now we're back, and we're talking about the oldest inductee ever inducted into the Hall of Fame that was living at the time, and that's Elmer Flick. I believe he was like 87 years old when he got in the Hall of Fame in like around 1963, which, if you think about it, is crazy. And he was there. He got inducted. He's probably most famous, honestly, in his career for the person that the manager, Huey Jennings at the Tigers, wanted to trade Ty Cobb straight up for. He wanted to trade Ty Cobb straight up for Elmer Flick, which is like now crazy, obviously. But back then, Huey Jennings was so tired of like all of Ty Cobb's antics that they offered Cleveland straight up for Elmer Flick. They said no, they countered with somebody else, and I guess they say the rest is history. So Elmer Flick, if you look at his record, he did lead the league in average one year, but it was the lowest average league to lead the league like until for like 1900 to 1968, which I think was Norm. Maybe it was Cash after then. I don't know. Anyways, bottom line is in 1961, Ty Cobb passed away. And then these researchers realized, like, oh my God, who was so great that the great Georgia Peach Mike had traded straight up for? It was Elmer Flick. And so they interviewed Elmer Flick. Elmer Flick was still alive at the time. He became semi-famous in the baseball world. And before you know it, 2 years later, here we have another unanimous. Again, everyone thinks Mariano was the first unanimous selection to the Hall of Fame. Elmer Flick is another, believe it or not, unanimous selection. And if you look at his statistics, they're not that good. Some people think he's underrated, but really it's nothing impressive, especially for all the candidates that we know about now from that era. So when he passed away, he was one of the last four players alive that played professional baseball prior to 1900. So we're going to get to his autograph in a second, but I just want to give you a little bit of background about Elmer Flick and how he became famous and why he got into the Hall of Fame. And even when he got in the Hall of Fame, he was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that he had the statistics or was up for consideration for it. And he was just shocked. But so anyways, let's talk about the autograph analysis of Elmer Flick. So we're going to start here. This is 1966. Now, the nice thing about Elmer Flick is when you wrote for his autograph, you never got just an autograph back. You got something with it. And you're going to see that in a second here. So we're going to keep going here. So when you look for an Elmer Flick, this is 1952. And his autograph, if you look at 1952, he was inscribing back then. He was one of the first people ever to inscribe, even though people weren't asking for it. But his autograph, you're looking for like a big loop to start with the E, the big loop to end with the E. You're looking for the Elmer to be one continuous thing. Whenever I look for an Elmer Flick autograph, I want to see three stroke and coming around with the F at top over that. The L's are usually the tallest letters in. The L and the I should be connected. He dotted the I straight down. And unfortunately, it should be very shaky. You want to see shaky. This one is tough to see. And again, though, you can see the E wrapped around all the way here, the three-stroke F. I know there's wording over it, so I apologize for that. But again, 1965, and you can see he dated stuff. He wrote quotations now. Here's something from 1966. Again, you still can see the loop. It's getting very shaky here. But again, he's 90 years old, and he's still 89 years old. He's about to be 90, and he's still signing. He was signing until his deathbed again. And even though it's shaky, again, you can see the L is the highest letter. You can see the F still loops around here. It's a three-stroke F. Break after the F. This is a little different. The I goes straight to the C. Usually you want to see a break between the the I and the C, but still, I mean, it looks good. This is what you would expect. This was a little tougher to see. Again here, yeah, I guess most autographs I see of Elmer Flick, honestly, there's a break between the I and the C. I know it's weird. At the end of his life, it looks like he was getting off the pen so much. So this is an autograph I want to talk about, and I know it's on the database. You're going to see these a lot. This you could look like to me. This looks like a two-stroke F, and I just don't like it personally. I know it's on the PSA database. Ron says the majority of baseballs are forged, and I can see why. Yeah, anyone can write a shaky Elmer Flick like this. You know what I'm saying? It's so shaky. It's reminds a little bit like a Luke Appling towards the end of his life. It was all shaky, and everyone says they're real. So I don't like this at all. I don't like the fact that it has a two-stroke F. It comes around, almost looks like a 7. So I think the next one here, this one is more what I want to see. Again, even these some dates in here, comes around and around. You can see it's a three-stroke F right here. Again, 1957. I mean, it's weird that the H is in there, but if I had to buy between the two balls, this is the one I would buy. Now, again, right here, this is what I want to see. Again, three-stroke F. This is 1947. His autograph, even then, is a little shaky, not horrible, but again, he's inscribed everything, which is always nice to see. Now, if we go to the PSA database, like for example, I look at this autograph. I don't know when this was signed, but just to me, it screams too neat, just too neat. You know, no shakiness at all. No one was asking him to sign baseballs. I don't know if one like high side panel seems to be like the in vogue forge to me for this. But again, I don't like it. The F is just way too neat. Even though it's a 3-stroke, it's like sits the top of the F sits perfectly. I don't like it at all. There are some T206 out there. I'm not saying this is wrong. He was one of the few players alive, especially Hall of Famers, that were signing T206 cards towards the end of his life. Again, moving on here. Again, you can see here, I don't like this ball at all. This is similar to the one in the PSA database. I see it sold for a lot of money. Again, high side panel. What I really don't like, again, is this F. It looks like the 7. I want to see a 3-stroke F, not a 2. It's weird that the L doesn't come higher here. I just don't like it. That's my opinion. I'm entitled to it. So, I mean, moving on here, I just want to look at a little bit more of Elmer Flick. Again, this baseball I actually feel more comfortable with. It's more sloppy, even though the Elmer's higher. I just don't like any baseball to Elmer Flick. I don't know if he was signing baseballs. I'm sure people will say he was. And you're going to spend thousands, literally thousands on a baseball. So this is my autograph. I actually have 2 of him. This is the one I like. And for some reason, I had the hardest time finding a government postcard Elmer Flick. You can find an index card on eBay for under $50, but like to find a government postcard, I had to spend a little more than $100 to be honest with this. But like, and it took me forever to find. I talked to Bill about this. I don't think Bill has one in his collection, and Bill's really big with the dated stuff. And Elmer Flick dated a lot. Again, there's a lot of stuff in here. So this is probably shortly after he maybe got into the Hall of Fame and got announced, but that wasn't inducted yet, even before that. But anyways, you can see right here, 86 years old, January 11th. He's very with his birthday. He put some years with the Phillies, 9 with the Cleveland. So again, this is what you want to see in an Elmer Flick autograph. So again, I mean, going back, it's not a rare autograph per se. I just wouldn't be looking for him on a baseball. That's the key thing. I mean, everything else is fairly common with him. And again, he wrote beautiful inscriptions on all these postcards and index cards. So I would say $50 maybe for just an autograph of his with some nice inscription in it. A little more for a government postcard. A real baseball, just be careful. So anyways, that's the end of my outfit. So I think I'm done for the night. I'm going to change outfits, come back, refresh, and we're going to talk about the chairman of the board, Mr. Whitey Ford. But until then, as always, keep collecting.